Hello and welcome to Euphoria. In this video I'll explain how I choose where to buy Lego bricks and the ordering process for the parts I need for a Lego model of my own design. For example, I might be creating a MOC such as this building for my Lego city, which is an old astronomical clock tower modular building which needs over 2,000 Lego parts. I've done a whole series of videos on the design and build for this MOC. I'll put a link in the card above in case you're interested to look at some of that series. In my series on building a MOC, I explained the 5 steps that I use to handle the whole procurement process for obtaining the parts that I need. Number 1 is create a parts list, which tells me what I need. Number 2, work out the sourcing, or where to get what I need. Number 3 is order the parts, so split it into different orders and execute those orders. Number 4 is check the deliveries, check and inventorize the parts that have arrived. And number 5 is monitor the costs, which tells me how much it's all costing me. The parts list is obviously different for each build, and it tells me what I need to buy. You might already have a parts list, or you can make one of your own. You can see how I make and check the parts list in my video on procurement. So I'm going to assume that you know what you want to buy and have made, or you can make, a list of the parts you need. In this video I'll explain how I work out where to get Lego parts from, and I'll show you the parts ordering process for a few of the places I use. Choosing where to get parts and the suppliers to get them from, and what to pay, is one of the most difficult parts of the process. You can easily be caught out by minimum order values, different prices from what you expect, quality variations, shipping charges, and low stock levels. I will definitely have to place multiple orders for a MOC of this size. So just to explain, I can get parts from at least 6 different types of places. I can use the stock of parts and sets that I already own. This is my first choice if I have what I need, and I'm happy to use the parts for this project. Having a stock of parts is useful as it means I can free build, play with ideas and prototype parts of a MOC. I can buy sets for cannibalizing, adapting, or to put into stock. I do sometimes buy sets if I can find what I consider to be a bargain, or if I think they'll provide a good stock of useful parts. I tend to avoid buying second-hand, as the quality of parts is variable, but sometimes I can get unusual or useful parts this way. The Lego Pick-a-Brick Wall. By using a Lego store, you can pick loads of parts from the Pick-a-Brick Wall. I've found that prices are about a third of buying new from Lego. It can be a good source of bricks, but it's very unlikely to have the specific sizes and colours that you need for a particular build. Lego Pick-a-Brick Parts Ordering Online. You can source new parts directly from Lego using their parts ordering online. It can be a good source of parts in volume at standard Lego prices. You earn VIP points, sometimes double VIP points, and your order can qualify for free delivery if it's large enough. It's a bit like a massive virtual pick-a-brick wall, although it is at full official Lego prices. But it still doesn't have all types and colours of parts that you might want. Lego Bricks and Pieces. This is supposed to be a replacement bricks service, but you can buy a huge range of current parts in limited volumes. Of course, you are paying Lego prices, although surprisingly these can be different from the pick-a-brick prices. Again, you can qualify for free delivery depending on total order value. Bricklink. Bricklink is a platform for lots of small suppliers to sell Lego elements, minifigs, stickers and other Lego stuff. It has a great choice of bricks, including those that are not current. Prices and availability vary enormously between suppliers. Sometimes you can find large quantities at knockdown prices, but more often it's difficult to find all the parts in the quantities you need from the same supplier. So you end up having to source across multiple suppliers. You can choose to buy new parts or used parts. Of course, used bricks tend to be cheaper than new ones, but that isn't always the case, so you have to look around to get the best deal for what you need to buy. There are lots of other places to buy bricks, including various other websites and marketplaces like BrickOwl and eBay, but I'll be concentrating on sourcing my parts from lego.com and Bricklink. It's worth checking your parts list and the prices of the parts you need before you start buying. Sometimes Lego changes or updates its mould for what is essentially the same part. Sometimes they keep the same part number, the design ID, but update the ordering number or element ID, and sometimes they change both. So sometimes parts appear to be unavailable from Lego when actually you can find the same part has just changed its number. To get round this, I check through to see if there are later ordering numbers. Strangely, I find it easier to use Bricklink to check the details and alternative part numbers, even though I might order the parts from Lego. Prices and availability can vary between those different parts. For example, if you wanted to buy this lamppost, it might cost you £5 from Bricklink, because it's actually an old mould and not available new from Lego anymore. But this lamppost, which is a slightly different shape, only costs under £1 because it's a current part and there are lots of them around. You will also find that some bricks are much more expensive in one colour than in another colour, or even that they're just not available in the colour you want. In these cases, it's worth considering changing your design to use different bricks that are available in the colour you want, or change the colour of the bricks to ones that are cheaper or at least available. For example, this 2x2 corner brick in sand green isn't available from Lego and can cost £1.20 on Bricklink, whereas the same brick in light bluish grey or tan might only cost 7 or 8 pence. And this 1x6 brick in medium blue can cost £5. But if you replace it with a 1x2 brick and a 1x4 brick in the same colour, they would only cost about 19 pence. It would be worth looking at your design to see if you absolutely need that to be a 1x6 brick. So it's worth checking around for different prices for the same brick, or cheaper prices for similar bricks, especially if you're ordering large quantities of some types of bricks. A few pence on each brick can make a big difference if you're ordering a couple of hundred bricks. I keep my own database of prices and update it when I'm buying. I calculate what I call a baseline price for each part that I need. This is like a budgeted cost of the part and includes an element for shipping. It's never quite right because prices, quantities and shipping costs vary, but it works out to be a typical average price for each type of brick. I also record what the typical cost is from Bricklink and Lego. That way I can go to the cheapest source for my bricks. It also means that I can look around Bricklink stores that I'm buying from, and if they have any other parts that I might be interested in, and if they're offered at a good price, I can choose to buy those at the same time. So where do I actually get my Lego from? Well, that varies for each MOC depending on what I need. The design may use some parts that I already have in stock or have already bought. Or I may have some parts that I can substitute into the design where they're not so critical, like interior decorations. So once I've recognised those parts, I'll mark those off the parts list and I don't need to buy them. Sometimes I can buy a set that makes a significant contribution to the parts I need, especially if my MOC is actually a modification or expansion of an existing set. Again, I'll mark those parts off the parts list so I don't need to buy them again. It's worth keeping a lookout for useful bricks on the pick-a-brick wall at Lego stores. I've picked up several cups of useful looking bricks for MOCs, but not all that many are immediately useful. Next, I look at sourcing parts direct from the Lego website, from either the pick-a-brick area or bricks and pieces area of the site, whichever is cheaper. Sometimes this can be the cheapest option or the easiest option to get the quantities and types of the parts I need. I keep track of prices in my database, and where Lego can supply parts at a good price, then I'll look to use them. I mark those items that I can get from Lego in my parts list. Then, if they are still the cheapest source at the end, I'll buy them direct from Lego. I source the remaining parts from various stores in Bricklink, either where it's cheaper than buying direct from Lego, or where Lego doesn't have the parts available, and I'll explain a bit more about that in the next part of this video. So now I know where to source my parts, I can move on to the step where I actually order the parts. In this step, I make shopping carts and actually spend the money to order the parts that I need. I won't go through all the details. There are shopping cart and payment processes on bricklink.com and lego.com. In Bricklink, there is an easy buy option, which looks through your wanted list and selects the stores to buy from and sets up your shopping carts for you. It does try to get the cheapest source of parts for you, but it also spreads the ordering around so that smaller stores get a chance. I'm not convinced it always makes the right choices. In order not to favour certain suppliers, typically the larger ones, it tends to spread its sourcing across multiple stores. I've seen it suggest using expensive parts that way. On the other hand, if you're looking for an extensive set of parts, you're not going to get them all from one store anyway. In one example, I found that in order to reduce the number of suppliers, it was buying pieces at 45p each. As I needed quite a few of those, I looked around and found a different supplier selling at 25p each, and they had a lot of other parts at good prices too. So I do some of the selection manually. You can select particular stores, or to source from particular countries or regions. For me, based in the UK, I can choose to look for parts just in the UK, in Europe, or worldwide. Shipping costs for worldwide can be prohibitive, so I tend to look for stores in the UK, or sometimes in Europe, for more hard-to-source parts. When I order parts, I tend to do it incrementally. I tend to do a couple of passes to work out which parts are difficult to source or particularly expensive. Then I'll look for a supplier with some or all of those parts. That way I'm cracking the hard part of the problem first, and then have more choice about where to source the more common parts. I do check that I'm not overpaying, so I compare prices with Lego prices and with my database price. I may take items out of the shopping cart that I consider to be overpriced and look for a cheaper source for them. On the other hand, spreading the ordering around too much will result in increased shipping charges. Sometimes it's worth paying slightly more per part to avoid having too many small orders. I also look for opportunities to obtain other parts that I'm interested in. So once I've chosen a store to buy from, I'll look for alternative parts for my build at advantageous prices. I will overorder if I think I've found a good deal and could use more of those parts. And also, I like to have a few spares in case I want to adjust the build later. I also bear in mind that if I buy from Lego, I get free shipping with a large enough order. So it can make sense to order from Lego to avoid expensive shipping from other suppliers, even if the parts are slightly more expensive per item. And there is the big advantage that you can order as many as you need without having to worry about stock levels in the Bricklink stores. And you also have the reassurance that they're brand new. Also remember when buying that smaller orders tend to incur a higher cost for postage per part ordered. Therefore, it's best to try to get your requirements from as few suppliers as possible. However, that means you're not always buying from the cheapest source. So it's always a trade-off between the stores that have a lot of what you need and those with the lowest prices. So that's a quick look at how I choose where to get my Lego from when I'm procuring all of the parts I need for a build. I create a parts list, compare prices from different sources, work out where to get the parts from, and then order the parts usually from the cheapest suppliers or those that can supply in the quantities I need. Look out for my recent haul videos where I've been buying in Lego parts and then using them in building my own creations. Thanks for watching. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos about Lego modular buildings.